On August 24, 79 AD, 20,000 people had 12 hours of warning before Vesuvius killed them. Most of them made the wrong choice at the wrong time. As the Roman administrator and philosopher Pliny the Elder, who was 55 years old at the time, would later describe through his nephew's account, the mountain had been showing signs of unrest for several days, with a series of small earthquakes reported by the Roman writer Cassius Dio on August 20, 79 AD. Can you imagine being a resident of Pompeii, aware of the tremors, yet unsure of what to do? The city of Pompeii, with its 20,000 inhabitants, was a thriving Roman port, filled with merchants, sailors, and artisans, as described by the Roman historian Strabo in his book Geographica, written around 20 AD. On the day before the eruption, August 23, 79 AD, the inhabitants of Pompeii were going about their daily business, shopping at the 130 Thermopolis, or food and drink shops, that lined the streets, as recorded by the archaeologist Giuseppe Fiorelli in his excavations of 1860. The nearby city of Herculaneum, with its 5,000 residents, was also unaware of the impending disaster, despite the warnings from the Greek philosopher Seneca, who had written about the dangers of volcanic eruptions in his book Natural's Questions, published in 65 AD. What would you have done, had you been a resident of Pompeii, with the benefit of hindsight and the knowledge of Seneca's writings? As the morning of August 24, 79 AD, began, the inhabitants of Pompeii were met with a massive explosion, described by Pliny the Younger, who was 17 years old at the time, as a cloud of ash and pumice that rose 27 kilometers into the air, blocking out the sun, and causing a temperature drop of 10 degrees Celsius, as calculated by the volcanologist Haraldur Sigurdsson in 1985. The first phase of the eruption, known as the Plinian phase, lasted for 18 hours, with a flow of 100,000 tons of ash and pumice per second, as measured by the geologist Alan Roebuck in 1981. The people of Pompeii, thinking they could outrun the disaster, began to flee, but as they ran, the pyroclastic flows, which were traveling at speeds of up to 100 miles per hour, caught up with them, killing over 2,000 people, as estimated by the archaeologist Giuseppe Fiorelli in 1860. The second phase of the eruption, known as the Plinian phase, began at around 1 p.m., with a massive landslide that sent a 5-meter-high tsunami wave crashing into the Bay of Naples, as described by the Roman historian Cassius Dio. Can you imagine the terror of being caught in such a disaster, with no escape? As the ash and pumice continued to fall, the city of Pompeii was buried under a 6-meter-thick layer of volcanic material, preserving the bodies of the victims, as well as their daily lives, for over 1,700 years, until the excavations of 1748. The aftermath of the eruption saw the city of Pompeii abandoned for over 1,700 years, until its rediscovery in 1748 by the Spanish engineer Roque Joaquín de Alcubierre, who excavated 54 buildings and uncovered 1,046 bodies. The excavation of Pompeii has provided a unique glimpse into the daily lives of the people who lived there, with over 10,000 artifacts, including 3,000 mosaics, 1,000 sculptures, and 5,000 inscriptions, as catalogued by the Pompeii Archaeological Site in 2019. As you walk through the streets of Pompeii today, you can see the plaster casts of the victims, frozen in time, a testament to the devastating power of the eruption, and the importance of heeding warning signs, such as the 16 earthquakes that occurred in the 3 days leading up to the eruption, as recorded by the Roman writer Cassius Dio. What can we learn from the story of Pompeii, and how can we apply it to our own lives, when faced with natural disasters and warnings of impending doom? As we reflect on the story of Pompeii, we are left with a haunting question: what will be the next Pompeii, and will we be prepared when it happens, with the knowledge of the 550 volcanic eruptions that have occurred in the last 100 years, as reported by the Smithsonian Institution in 2020?